Hey everybody, welcome back to Antietam National Battlefield. We're back in the Cybertruck. We are going to test the latest version of FSD, which is 13.2.2. That was released the other day with version 2024.44.25.5, which is a hardware 4 only version of the holiday update. It comes with FSD 13. That's been rolling out to hardware 4 Model 3s, hardware 4 Model Ys, and of course the Cybertruck. I've used it a few times already around town and through some of my more difficult routes that I usually take, which are mostly rural routes in the area that I live in. But I've also had it through a couple cities, and I gotta say it is the first version of FSD that I would be comfortable putting anybody behind the wheel and saying, hit that button. It works incredibly well. It is very, 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 very good. Now, can it handle our stress test, which is a really, really simple looking loop? If you've watched these videos in the past, you know that FSD struggles with this loop for some reason. The last version, the first version that came to the Cybertruck, it nailed it first try. It got it perfectly the first try. It was amazing. I haven't been back on version 13, and this is the first time I've been here to do this test. And what we do is we wait until this loops back around to where we just were. It should pop up here in a second. Or I can just force it again. Let's do a Burnside Bridge. All right, so now we get this loop that takes us through the battlefield, through town of Sharpsburg, Maryland, and then back. And it's only about a 10-minute drive, but it's been challenging in the past. So can FSD 13 handle this test? So let's give it a shot. So for some reason it puts on its turn signal. That's fine. I guess if you're parked on the side of the road, you're gonna be signaling you're coming into the lane, but I did not press on the accelerator there. It actually did that by itself, which I'm sorry, I hit the camera. In previous versions of FSD, that could be, it could be stressful to just sit there and wait for it to start going. You had to actually hit the button. Now, FSD 13 on the Cybertruck does not come with the option to start your trip from your screen. It does not allow you to reverse. It does not suggest parking spaces or anything like that when you get to your destination. It is, I hit the camera again. That's in a bad position today. I am very sorry. It is limited on what it can do. Now, we are in standard, and the max is set to 41 or 42 in a 25, which is unacceptable. I'm gonna go ahead and limit it, which is a nice new feature. And since we're in the battlefield, I'm gonna limit it to a maximum of 27 miles per hour, just because I want it to do the proper thing. Now, so traditionally, this has been a problem in very old versions of FSD, this intersection, and we'll come back to it, obviously, on our loop. But it's been very, very good lately. And now this is the most confident it's ever been up this hill. I've said it in the previous FSD version for 12.5.5 when we came out here in the truck for the first time. It attacked the hill, but halfway up, it just started slowing down. It stayed at a good pace the entire way up the hill. Sometimes there's cars parked here, which can confuse FSD, but today there's nothing. And now we come to the rolling hill, narrow section, one-way street, and we are going to start slowing down. Now, it is pretty common for FSD to take this section very slowly, and the FSD version 13 is no different. It is taking this very cautiously, slowing down. I'm not sure if it's using historical traffic data. I'm not sure if it's just not comfortable with this road. It's not really clear to me why FSD behaves this way in this road. That's why this is one of our test areas, why we come out here for the new versions to see what FSD does. This narrow bridge has caused issues in the past. Today we are going through without any issue. We didn't slow down at all for that. It is not maintaining speed when it comes to a hill, and I've noticed that on regular roads as well. I'm still not sure that FSD has the capability of understanding that it's approaching a hill. Now we are going very slow, and again, the speed is set to 27. And like I said, I'm not sure if it's taking into account, fleet experience, people coming through here very slow because it is a national battlefield, or people coming through here to look at things, or if it's just so unsure of itself on a one-way street that doesn't have any marked lines, doesn't have any shoulders, that it is just doing this out of an abundance of caution. Have not been able to really figure that out over the years. And we've had some problem areas here on this back stretch. Again, we're still going very slow, but in our historical catalog of experience here, this gate has caused issues where we would slam on our brakes, but just going very slowly. And then here at this dip, for some reason, it would also brake and be very uncomfortable. I haven't had any uncomfortable braking whatsoever in this version. It has been very, very nice, but again, we were going so slowly that if there had been somebody behind me, I would have been pressing an accelerator pedal. Now this stop sign is about 20 feet off of the road. It is a really awkward intersection. We're gonna have to obviously do a NHTSA stop where we come to a complete stop at the stop sign, but then it can't see the road yet. So it's gonna have to creep up real far until it sees the road. Now it's clear and it will go. Now let's maintain a decent speed here. It is 25 miles an hour. It says 35, but it's actually 25. And maybe in the past, that's why the roads, the map data thinks it's 35 through here. It's actually only 25, as you can see the signs right there. There's also a sign before we got to where we were. So it doesn't slow down to a reasonable speed. It's starting to slow down. Only a couple miles an hour though. I want it to go slower than that. That's around here. I know a lot of people have mentioned that, well, just, go with the flow. Yes, but around here, anything over 30, and 31 as indicated on the screen is 30. Anything over 30 and a 25 will get you pulled over. All right. It's very smooth. I've really enjoyed FSD 13 so far. The only time I've ever had an issue with it is when my wife's sitting in the seat. It's literally the only time that I ever have an issue with FSD ever is when my wife is in the car with me. It's always perfectly fine otherwise. It's whenever she's in the car, I think it has a vendetta against her. Come through here in the past, recently, on one of my Cybertruck videos, and there was a lot of people out here. There was a lot of cars parked out here. It's freezing, and it is also Christmas Eve. So everybody's at home, except for me, because I'm doing this. All right, took that turn nicely. There's a car coming, but this is a 25-mile-an-hour zone, so he's driving at the speed limit. Not really worried about that. We are going kind of slow through here town. All right, should pick up our velocity once we get past this intersection. All right, so there we go. We start speeding up a little bit. So one of the new features is we can actually change the zoom level on our rear cam now, which is very nice. I still like to keep it in the 1X. It gives me a kind of a universal view that I can use as both my rear view and my side mirrors. But if I need to see better on the highway versus maybe what's up close, I have that option as well. Okay, let's go up to, there we go. I don't want to anger this person on Christmas Eve. All right, so we're coming back to the entrance, and this is another pain point that FSD has had before. There's a narrow gate to enter into the park, and sometimes it's caused issues. There are cars parked on the side here that has also tripped up FSD in the past. Let's see. And it seems to be handling it just fine. We go through the gate. Again, kind of slow, but it got that entrance pretty nicely. All right, so we're going to, it's set to its max of 27. Again, we're going 14. So this is a little too slow for my liking. So we can give it a little nudge and it'll speed up. And that's the only thing I've done so far is give it that one little nudge there. Now this is reasonable. If you're in the battlefield and you want to look around and you want to enjoy yourself, this is a reasonable speed. The people behind me wouldn't be too, I mean, there's nobody behind me, but if there was, they wouldn't be too upset because this is about what you expect when you come to one of these places. You expect people to be going slowly, looking at the monuments, checking out the sights. So this feels like a natural speed. 14 miles per hour, not so much. All right, so we're coming up to one of our last pain points here. This is where the road comes to a T intersection and we have the right of way. We're coming up to, off to our left, they have a stop sign. To the right is the direction of traffic. So this is a 2-lane to our left and a 1-lane or a 1-way to our right. 2-way to our left, 1-way to our right. We have the right of way. So if anybody came up to that stop sign, they would stop for us. Now, again, we're slowing down to a kind of an uncomfortable slow pace. Nothing uncomfortable as a driver, it's just you wouldn't go this slow. Does the truck stop? It does not stop. Okay. It's very slow, but just being very sure of itself, making sure that it has all the information it needs. That is exactly the way it should have handled that, other than it was a little slow. In past versions, I've actually had it come to a stop at the end of the bridge and just sit. I would give it a nudge, nothing happened. Give it a nudge, nothing happened. It would not go. It sat there for minutes like that. Now, the other pain point, final pain point, is this particular section of road. If there were an oncoming car, and I wish there were, in previous versions, FSD would actually slow down to almost a stop, and sometimes actually even pull off, not to the side of the road, but into the center, towards the center lane, which was really, really awkward for everybody, and it was a super uncomfortable situation to be in. It has not done that. I've driven on a lot of rural routes since I got FSD 13, and that has been fixed. And again, what has not been fixed is the understanding of what a hill is. So again, we'll crawl up this hill to the parking area. Now, will FSD try and find a parking space? Let's find out. I don't think it will. That's nice that it's actually signaling. I've had it try and go in the 1-way before. Okay, we got a person over here doing their cross-country walking. We're going to turn in nicely, slowly for them so that we don't make them uncomfortable. And it will park. Okay, so that's good. I'm not going to let it park because I don't want to. But it was going to park, so that's nice. Okay. Also, when FSD parks front end, it parks horribly. It does a very, very poor job. It is not recommended to let FSD park your front end because it will miss the lines like crazy. Okay, so thoughts on this. It did a very good job. It was not perfect. It was very slow, it was very deliberate. And from using it outside of the park, and actually here, let me put it on here and see what happens with this oncoming car. No problem. We were already going slow, so it wasn't going to go any faster than that, but no problem. It did not freak out. Anyway, it's a little slower than I would like it to be in this situation, but out in the real world, it drives actually at the pace that I would want it to. I have not had many issues with the speed, and now that we have this speed control here where I can say the max speed I want you to go is 28 miles per hour or whatever it happens to be, bringing that back to FSD has been a really, really great quality of life feature for the software. In version 12.5.5 on the truck, I would have to just take off, report it, whatever, right? But no, now it's fine. What else? Hills. Again, it does not understand what a hill is. It, for whatever reason, will not keep the torque applied so that it smoothly goes up the hill. In FSD, if I did it again, right now it's keeping the speed, but if we were to let it, and you saw it in the video, if we let it go further, it'll approach a hill, and then as it goes up, it slows down. And that's not how you typically drive. Typically, you'll apply more torque so that you continue to do your consistent speed as best you can. So let's see what it does on this hill right here. And it's not a huge hill, don't get me wrong. On a faster road, it does a much better job, but it's still, on my way here, it's still slowed down on the hills. So see, we slowed down to almost 3 miles an hour. 4 miles an hour. There's a bigger hill here. Now, does it speed up going down the hill? Sometimes. In some experiences I've had, it will just maintain the speed all the way down the hill, which again, is not how most people drive. Most people, especially in gasoline-powered vehicles, going downhill is free. They're not using any gasoline if they're going downhill in gear. Now, see, we've slowed down considerably because we're going uphill. Yeah. So it's a bit slow in these situations. Again, on the surface roads, it does demonstrate some of those same tendencies, but they're nowhere near as apparent since we're going so slow to begin with. Overall, like I said earlier, I think that this is the first version of FSD that I could sit anybody down behind the wheel and say, push this button, and say, enjoy the ride. Because it has done some incredibly intelligent things that I have never seen, not only FSD, but I've never seen any ADAS vehicle perform. It does, it behaves well in school zones. It responds to emergency vehicles now. Not only the lights, but also sirens, because they're using the onboard microphones now to listen for sirens. It also finally responds to school buses with their signs out. I'm going to go ahead and speed this up. And using it in the city versus where I live, which, I mean, this is basically what it looks like where I live. I'm 2 towns over, and it's very, very similar to this. When you use it in the city, it's night and day difference in capability. The way that it responds in real time to people doing people things, people being dumb in a city. You know, coming to a full stop to double park outside of a McDonald's, or you know, doing an illegal U-turn, or whatever it happens to be that people are doing. FSD is anticipating all of those things in 360 degrees in real time, and it does it better than I ever possibly could. I cannot stress to you how amazing FSD in the city actually is. And I'm planning on, here in the next week or so, going down to Washington, D.C. to do a bit of a stress test between a few circles, DuPont Circle, the Capitol area, downtown along the mall, and then through some of the tighter neighborhoods and things, to really show you how capable FSD actually can be in a city. And typically when you're seeing FSD in a city, you're seeing it out in the West Coast, and those roads out there are a little bit different. Washington, D.C. is a completely different beast, and I think it would be very interesting to see how it handles the Cybertruck in the city. And I mean, I know how it does. It does it very, very well. It's uncanny how well it does. So I think that'll probably be my next video. Hopefully I get that recording in the next week or two. All right. Well, with that, I think I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. FSD is not going to turn here because it doesn't know where it's going. I've had to go straight there before, and it's kind of annoying. So yeah, we'll wrap this up. I will edit it and get it up online, and let me know what you think. If you have any questions, comments, etc., 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 I'm not doing this for any reason other than I enjoy it and I think it's a lot of fun. So if you like to subscribe, go ahead. If you want to comment, go ahead. If not, thanks for watching, and maybe I'll see you in the next one. So have a good one. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and Happy New Year, all that good stuff. Talk to you soon.